I had spent the winter in a solitary retreat in Central California along the coast. And there were a lot of things that I used for tools to kind of keep my mind brightened and inspired and determined. I was doing a purification practice that required a lot of concerted effort to look about the things that I'd done in my life, the misdeeds, and to really generate a strong determination to change my mind on a lot of it. And so I went through a number of books that I had with me, and there was, and also some teachings that I had on my computer. And one of the teachings that I had was when Venerable taught the Wheel of Sharp Weapons back in 2006, I think it was, and we were still doing the teachings in Ananda. And there was one of her teachings in that I wrote down. I have about 12 of these teachings that I use sort of as my main medicine while I went through this retreat. And this one was, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it exactly, but it was, you can know all about karma in your mind. You can know all about the 10 non-virtues. You can know about the 4 different characteristics. You can look at the different types of results. You can look about which ones are heavier than others. And she says, but if you really deeply understand, and this is sort of tracking what Geshe-la was saying today, if you really truly take karma to heart, it's not as easy as it sounds. Because if you're really going to live your life like you truly have a deep understanding and faith in karma, it is going to challenge everything in which the way we've walked our lives, taught, spoken, thought about it. It'll challenge all of our habits. It'll challenge all of our misconceptions. All of our patterns will be challenged. Because what I got to see through this practice that I was doing is that I would say that I believed in karma, and then I'd go ahead and do something that was totally antithetical for me to be able to create the causes for virtue, because I just wasn't really understanding what I was doing. I didn't think that the results would come. And so as I did the retreat, because of the level of purification, I don't know exactly how this works, is that as the days and the weeks went on, when I would go through the 35 Buddhas, or I would go through the Wheel of Sharp Weapons, there would be memories that would come up almost instantaneously of as long as 20, 30, 40 years ago, people I hadn't even remembered their names. And it would be around that particular non-virtue that I was wanting to purify. Whether it was killing, sexual misconduct, harsh speech, divisive speech, idle talk, they would come up clear as a bell. And I would be able to see, this is the happiness of this life. This is totally being unconscious about doing what you want when you want and not really understanding the type of causes you were creating and what type of results. And I also got to see that the patterns in my life from 30, 40 years ago, for me, around the 8 worldly concerns, had become strong emotional habits, whether it was about praise, aversion to criticism, wanting myself to be comfortable. I could see that starting when I was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, consciously making decisions about the people that I hung out with, what I did for a living, where I lived, all around just wanting to be happy and not suffer in the kind of the craziest, most unhealthy ways. So I've taken this teaching that Venerable had about, if I truly understand that karma functions, what am I doing in my life that shows me that I'm having that understanding? Because when I look at my purification practice, even now, I'm still purifying the same. It's not that the habits are going to go away, but I'm creating them. I'm still doing them because I really don't believe it's some part of my heart that the karma is functioning and that I'm creating suffering results by either divisive speech, idle talk, kind of lying by omission, downplaying misdeeds so they're not as big as they were. I can see very, very clearly that my belief in karma is still on quite a superficial level. And so I'm encouraging all of us, if you don't like the way your life is going, and there's suffering coming up in your life, the Buddha has laid it out. The Wheel of Sharp Weapons lays out very clearly, if this suffering is happening in your life, these are the causes. And if you don't want those results, these are the causes to cease. And if you do want particular kinds of fortune in your life, these are the causes to create it. The dependent arising and the functioning of karma is so obvious, but yet it's hard to practice. And so I found myself in the retreat having a kind of a good sense of shame that I had been fooling myself, that I had been lying to myself for the 8 worldly concerns, and was quite humbled by even starting to think that if you want things different, you're going to have to create the causes for what you want. Because right now you're experiencing results that you don't want. You have to really understand the causes. So since the retreat, I have seen that my speech has gotten a little bit kinder. I'm not doing so much idle talk. I'm trying very, very hard to tell the truth, not omitting things, not diminishing things, not exaggerating things. So I think that the retreat has given me some incentive to really take the power of karma to heart. And as a result, what I'm seeing even now is that I'm not having people coming at me with criticism. I'm not having that anger. It's almost like what goes around comes around in a fairly quick sequence if you've got your heart in the right place, or at least I'm not perceiving it as criticism. I'm not perceiving it as harshness. I'm seeing it as karma functioning. And so I'm really kind of inspired and determined to continue to deepen my understanding of what the karma functions. And we really need to create the causes for what we want, which is awakening. So Geshe-la has really been clear about that too, on what we need to do there, as has Venerable. Anyway, I'm inspired.